Welcome to InputStudio. In this video tutorial we will learn all the different types of data that exists in InputStudio and business rules that can apply to them. Let's start by tapping on the InputStudio icon. As you can see, I have created an application that if you like would be useless, but at least can help us giving some context in the explanation of data types that can be defined. Let's see application definition by tapping on the Edit button of the application. This application is a business of ancient relics called My Store. This business has recently acquired a smaller business to have a complete gallery of historical relics for its customers. To show the types of data and rules that can be used, I created for data entities. Acquired store contains the acquired articles. Acquired relic describing the actual acquired article. Relic describes the valuated articles. My store contains relic articles. As manager of this business, I have been commissioned to make an inventory of all items in the small business we just have purchased. To inventory these items, I will take a record of the description, the current value, and take the picture of each item. To enter this information electronically, acquired relic entity has been created. All these articles, therefore, belong to the entity acquired store. This inventory will give me the final total value of the acquired store. Anna, who is the evaluator, eventually review each piece and will register them into our system by using the entity relic. Relic entities ultimately made up our My Store gallery. These relics are categorized by the options list. Relic categories containing as categories: very old, invaluable, and fake. Let us now review the attributes of the acquired relics entity. This entity comprises the description of type string, value of type decimal, and picture of type image. Look at the value attribute has a default value of 0.0, and when displayed on the screen will have a decimal format with a $sign prefix. The property is enabled means that the attribute can be edited. The property is required means that the attribute must have a non-zero value. The property is visible means whether or not to display on the screen when editing the values of the entity. And finally, the property is the main attribute means this attribute is displayed on the screen when the entity is rendered. To obtain the total value of items acquired, I have created a total value attribute of type decimal. Will be disabled because it will automatically be calculated and set when the data is saved by the rule set acquired store total value. This rule simply sums the value of each of the relics which are part of this acquired business. Talking about the rules, we will create one to talk a bit about them. Business rules have a name, which is not necessary to fill out, since it will be automatically set, have an expression that is evaluated when the rule is executed at object creation, when is updated or saved. To review the expression, let's give a tap on the Edit button. Every expression has an attribute that is assigned by a mathematical operator, a constant value or another attribute value or mathematical expression. InputStudio is able to discover the entities and their attributes that are defined in the application and thus suggested as the expression itself. The expression syntax is always entity.attribute or entity.children.count, entity.childrenIndexPosition.attribute or entity.childrenAggregate method !attribute. If the entity is a container of entities, the checkbox titled Append or Replace will indicate whether the selected text of the list will be added or replaced in the current text. The relationship acquired relic is that the entity will be the container of acquired stored relics. When the relics are displayed, they will be in descending order by value. As for the relics valued by Anna that are stored in our store My Store, they have name attribute of string type. Will have a default value of uncategorized and a validation which will not allow empty values. These relics are flagged with the attribute for sale of type Boolean to indicate if they will be for sale or demonstration purposes only, with a default value of true, indicating that the majority will be sold. The relics have a date on which they were acquired, with a default value of $now. That tells the system to put today's date and display it in the format month, day, year, hour, minute, second. Then indicate the number of pieces with a default value of 0 and a delimited format in thousands, and a regular expression validation, indicating it may have a value from 1 to 3 numbers, in other words, from 1 up to 999 pieces. The relics will be categorized by having a default value of very old. Then assign the acquired relic. That will have an estimated cost and a default value of 100, which also will be automatically calculated by the setRelic estimated price rule, whose value is the value of the original relic multiplied by 2.25 times. And a validation of value ranges from 9.99 to 999,999. This relic will be displayed on the internet, so you will have a URL assigned, with a default value starting with http://www. As an auxiliary attribute, the total price attribute will default to 0.0 and will be automatically calculated by the setRelic total price rule with the estimated price multiplied by the number of pieces. For knowing the total investment in my store, my investment attribute was created with a default value of 0.0 and will also be automatically calculated by the setMyStoreMyInvestment rule, which is simply the total sum of the prices of items. When the items are displayed, they will be in descending order by the estimated price. Finally, there are 2 screens. Acquired items will be displayed on the screen Acquired Store, and the inventory and valued items will be displayed on the screen My Store. You will be able to navigate each screen to the other and vice versa. That's all. Thank you for visiting our site www.inputstudio7.com.